Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about stacking rings again. I'm not just going to talk about play, we're going to expand the play a little bit more. So the last time I talked about the stacking rings, I was talking about how to be very playful, using your voice and your facial expressions to really attract the learner to what it is that you're doing. So if I was using the stacking rings to embed targets now, let's say we're doing some natural environment teaching, and I want to be able to talk about the item or about, some of the teaching targets that I have set for the learner, then I want to do it right in the play, in the natural environment with the learner. And what that really means is I'm going to be asking questions that kind of fit into the play. I'm not going to be playing with the stacking rings and ask the child to clap their hands or touch their head. I'm going to ask questions that are in relation to the play. And I find that to be one of the most beneficial and effective ways of teaching and for the child to actually learn things because they're doing it right in play and it makes sense. So I could talk about colors, I could count, I could label the items. I can have the child request for these items. Now, obviously, stacking rings may be limited. If I were playing with Play-Doh or sand or water play, I could probably expand my play a lot more because I can create a theme and I can do so much more with that. I can embed other toys with that as well. Now with this, I could probably embed other toys, but really the function of this toy is to stack the rings. And so I want to play in a functional way with the item so that the learner can also play with the item in a very functional way. So if I were doing this and I was playing with the learner, and now I need to know what my targets are, what the teaching targets are. So as you're playing, what I like to do is every so often pause, and I call this a target point or a choice point, and this is where I'm going to embed whatever it is that I'm teaching the learner. So if the learner is working on colors, numbers, counting, some introverbals, some fun fill-ins, I'm going to then incorporate those into the play. And I'll pause and wait about maybe 3 to 5 seconds to give the learner a chance to fill in. And if they don't, then I'm going to fill in for them or give them the, the response if it's a verbal response. If it's an imitation or an echoic or a receptive skill, then I'm going to, help the child out and show them. So what are some of the things that we can actually do with this? So if we have manned targets for the learner, so this is the learner requesting, I can take out the rings. I want to control the rings because if the learner has free access, then they don't need to ask for the item. So I want to control the items, the rings, and then I'm going to, I might give the learner the first one. Again, I want to create that that need for it. So I might give them the first one, say, here, take the green one. And let's say the learner puts it in. And then let's say I know that I have to know which one is next, right? So you have to know how to actually stack the rings. So then the yellow one is next. And I might say, put it on. So here I'm giving the child some instructions, and this might be a target. It may not be a target. So put it on. The learner puts it on. And then I might hold off and I'm going to hold this item and here's my choice point. I'm going to pause and I'm going to wait and see if the learner will request for the ring. Let's say that's the target ring. If the learner doesn't within 3 to 5 seconds, and depending on your prompting procedures and what the program requires you to do, and that you would have to look into the actual program or speak to the behavior analyst on the team. And now I'm going to pause and I'm going to wait. And if the learner says ring, then I'll give it to them. If they don't, I can model, for example, ring, ring, ring. Again, it depends on the prompting procedure and the teaching procedure that you are using and the level of the learner and for example, some kids you might say ring, they echo and you have to do, a transfer trial. So depending on the teaching procedure, so be sure to follow those teaching procedures. So now if the learner says it or or echoes me, then they can take it and put it on. Then I might say, what color is it? And the choice point here, or the target point, is for them to label the color. So what you want to do is take a look at what your teaching targets are for the learner. And then what you want to do is see, how can I embed it into the play as naturally as possible, so that it's not like, what color is it? Here you go, put it on, ring, what color is it? Blue. You don't want it to be back to back. You want it to be very natural. You're playing with it. Here you go. The child puts it on. What color is it? Green. Look, it's orange. Oh, wrong one. Chazza doesn't know how to do the stacking rings. Here you go. Put it on. What is it? Ring. That's right. Do this. And the child shakes it and you put it on. So that's just a very short example of how to get some of your targets into something like a stacking ring, but of course you can expand it, and depends on the learner and how you're playing with them. You can space out your targets within that play. You can also embed some things that they already know how to do. So if they've already acquired some skills, for example, if they already know how to label red and orange, you can throw those in there as well, just to maintain them. But a really nice way of teaching your learner is in the natural environment, talking about the item and embedding those questions right in there. And you're going to throw in those targets at moments where they feel as natural as possible. So as you're playing, and this takes a little bit of practice, but you'll feel that, hey, this is a great time to ask what color, or maybe I'm going to do a request, or maybe now I'm going to do a label, a tact. So good luck with that. Have fun, and please comment, let me know how it went for you. All the best.